I think obviously we should do everything possible through technology, law enforcement, and other means to prevent poachers from slaughtering threatened species. But as long as there's a demand for ivory, rhino horn, and other wildlife products, there obviously are going to be people willing to take the risk to supply that demand, and we obviously won't be able to stop all of them. So it seems to me that we also need to focus on reducing demand. So let me ask you, Dr. Bennett, since you really have, I'm aware of Wildlife Conservation Society and the good work you do, tell us what we can do to better convince consumers, mainly in Asian countries, to stop buying these products. And I know we've seen advertisements from time to time with celebrities and horrific pictures of dead elephants. Have those advertisements and pictures made a difference? And what other approaches might be effective that we're not doing that we should do?
Thank you very much, Ranking Member Engel, for that. It's an extremely good question because at the end of the day, while there's still the demand, as you say, there will still be the poaching. The one thing that can be done is just straight change the law, which China has done for ivory. There was a National Geographic survey done a few years ago now, which asked members of the public in China what would cause them to stop buying ivory. And the single greatest answer was if it's made illegal. And that's now been done. It's been made illegal, which is great. And now there's the tool of enforcing it and taking it off the market. That doesn't actually necessarily reduce people wanting to buy it and buying it through the black market. And one of the real concerns is that people from China and Vietnam will actually go to other countries with weaker laws and weaker law enforcement on their borders. So go and take a holiday in Laos or Cambodia and bring back some wildlife products. It's a very hard one to answer. We know a lot about the science of stopping poaching and a lot about how to stop trafficking. There's no one clear answer to how to change people's behavior. And a lot of people have tried different things, but it's not very clear what changes people's behavior. So for example, within China for shark fin, there's been a lot of campaigns, including using celebrities about buying shark's fin, which have probably had quite an effect in building up a groundswell. But the single thing that took shark's fin off the market was President Xi Jinping saying this is a sign of sort of corruption and affluence and luxury, and stopped government officers buying shark's fin. So it's really hard to know. And legal bans themselves don't necessarily change demand. In fact, for some things, such as pangolin, people buy it because it's illegal, and that gives an additional status because it shows that you're above the law. So it's a very complex question. We don't actually know the answer. There is a project going on at the Oxford Martin School in UK for 3 years at the moment to examine exactly that question. What do we know and what works, and therefore how can we change our programs in future?
Thank you very much. Mr. Peters, let me ask you this. You note that Facebook has become a major platform for selling illegal wildlife products. Tell me how you think they're acting. Do you think Facebook is taking this problem seriously, and have you seen any improvements in their practices? Does the same problem exist on other websites or other social media platforms?
Yes, the problem exists on a number of social media platforms. Facebook in particular has been made aware of this problem multiple times over the past few years. The Wildlife Justice Committee held a 2-day seminar in The Hague in 2015, and I don't believe Facebook even sent anybody. So a 2-day seminar was held about the problem. A number of reports have been published by WWF, by IFA, and other organizations detailing the problem. Facebook and a number of other tech firms have joined a coalition promising to remove wildlife from their platforms by 2020. Our investigators were online looking at the issue just last week, and it was business as normal. I think that the days for talking to the leaders of social media firms about this are over. They've been told multiple times by multiple organizations, including U.S. Fish and Wildlife Law Enforcement, that this problem exists, and they've done nothing about it.
Ms. Peters, we had Mr. Zuckerberg here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm so sorry that we didn't ask him this question.
A number of members did ask him about it. He said he was aware it was a problem and that they were working on it. I think they would work a lot faster if the threat of a multi-million-dollar fine from the SEC was hanging over their heads.
And if I may, thank you. Let me ask Mr. Stewart, since I've asked the other 2 questions. The administration, in its FY 2019 budget, unfortunately proposed significant reductions for wildlife trafficking and other key international conservation programs. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the impact those proposed funding levels have on our ability to effectively address these issues. Obviously, with less money, you can do less, but where do you see it impacting?
Well, clearly more resources are good for the effort. Certainly, I think Fish and Wildlife having attachés in various embassies throughout Africa have been a great force. We've been more focused, though, I think, in terms of what to do, given the situation, in trying to encourage public-private partnerships to make sure that government funds that are available and are spent more as effectively and efficiently as they can be. And I think a great example of that is the bill sponsored by a number of members of the committee, the Delta Act. It's important that the call there, I think, for government to work with business and to work with philanthropy in developing technology and applying efforts across those areas, I think is at least what we're trying to be involved in to make up for any reduced funding on the government part. And I think that provides a great path. And it's important as we embark on that, as the Delta Act calls for, to, if we're going to go in and try to work with Angola, to listen to Angola. And I think the upcoming CODEL that this committee is undertaking is an important opportunity to build relationships with the legislators and officials in Angola. In our discussions with Angola, there's been an interest in, I've heard an interest in diversifying the economy. And when we look at the promise in Cuanda Cabango in southern Angola, there's a great opportunity to see that development and conservation can go hand in hand, along with agriculture, fishing, and other traditional entities. So that's what we're focused on.
Thank you. My time is up. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.